G'day everyone, how's it going? I hope you're all well. My name's Black Magic and this is my ultimate LazerGrrl Beginners guide. Now, this video will be a little bit long because there's a few different things I'm going to go through. We're going to have a look at an overview of the game, what it's about, we're going to be having a look at the control scheme that you should be using and you should start using it from the start and why that is. We're going to be having a look at how to open on the main map called Arena and a few different tips about that. And then at the end, I'm just going to go through a couple of little advanced tips that I'll go through in a later video. This game, LazerGrrl. At the moment, it's still in development, but within a few months, the full game should be released on Steam soon. There is a free version of the game, and it will also have a paid version that'll have a few extra features, such as an own map builder, you can do custom lobbies, lots of different things like that, different characters, different colours, lots of different customization. Now, this game is a fast-paced PvP strategy. Basically, if you take Bomberman and you combine it with a real-time strategy game. It's an online game where you play against others all around the world, and the objective is to basically build your base, get energy, build lasers, and then you want to try and defeat your opponent by outwitting them, by either destroying their base or attacking their character. And there are lots of different ways that you can do this. What we're going to go through first is the control scheme. This can be found by going through extras, options, and then controls. So this interface here gives you a background of your own character, and this map is actually Arena. Now on the right hand side here, you'll be able to see all the different controls, you'll be able to see the keybinds, so what each button you can press does what action. You can have a look at the different control schemes, and I'll go through them in a moment. And then a few different variables, which aren't as important, but a few different things we can look at. So to begin with, we're going to go to control scheme. Now, each of these different control schemes handle your character slightly differently. By default, you'll start on this Pokemon 5 button controls. Now, how this controls is you use your WASD keys to move your character in said directions. And then your spacebar is your action key. So that's what's going to allow you to pick up and place blocks. This is good for beginners, but after only having played, a few minutes, you'll find that this isn't really the best way to play. There are lots of different ones here, and you can explore with whatever you'd like, see what's most comfortable to you. However, between myself and a lot of the other community members, 8 button controls are what we would suggest to go with. How this button scheme is different is you have 4 keys that you use for your movement, and then you have 4 different keys for the directions that you want to pick up and place blocks. And this can be independent of your movement keys. Now this control scheme does take a little bit to get used to, but after only having played, about 10-15 minutes, you start to get comfortable with it. And in the long run, you'll definitely be more thankful for starting off with it. So after having picked this 8 button controls, now we're going to have a look at the keybinds. So by default, you're up, down, right and left movements. They're all still going to be bound to your WASD keys, and that's fine, you can leave them as is. For your turn movement direction, which is where you pick up and place block, you have turn up, which is O, turn down, which is L, turn right, which is semicolon, which is to the right of the L, and then turn left, which is to K. Now these are set up the exact same as your WASD keys are, but just as your block picking up and placing down. Now, these are definitely fine to use. I like to just shift all of those keys right one, and I'll put a picture up here to tell you what keys I'm pressing for this. But turn up I set to P, turn down I set to semicolon, turn right I set to quote, and then turn left I set to L. So basically the exact same keys that the placing, picking up and down were, but just shifted right one. Just gives you a little bit extra room to move. So what this control scheme allows you to do is you still move as normal, but as soon as you press a move key, you'll instantly move in that direction. So it's quicker than Pokemon in that sense. Now, your pickup and placement keys, instead of having to press an action key to pick up, move a particular direction, and then press the action key again to place it down, what this allows you to do is it allows you to stay in the one square, so you don't have to move. You can pick up a block and place it in a different spot without moving your actual character at all. So this will actually allow you to swap blocks a lot quicker. So if you can see here, I have this gen block, and we'll talk about what the actual blocks do when we get to the arena map. But we can see that if we want to swap a place with 2 blocks. So say I want to replace this gen block with this wall block, I can just pick it up, move it out of the way, pick the new block up and place it there. And then when you get more comfortable with it, it becomes a lot quicker to move 2 blocks at one time and swap them around, which is the main advantage of using this over the Pokemon control scheme. So now that the control scheme's set up and we've got all our keybinds, we're going to have a quick look at the variables. For the moment, most of these won't really affect you guys. When you start to get a bit more used to the game, and in the full version, you'll have a lot more use for these. The 8-button controls eliminate most of these variables, so you don't really have to worry about them. For move time, you want this to be as low as possible, because this actually says how fast your character moves. As you can see, very slow, very fast. And obviously, in a strategy game, you want to be able to move as fast as possible. It can be a bit difficult to begin with to be able to navigate properly, but you get used to it pretty quick. Quick rotate, you want to have off. Again, this is only really for advanced players who have the full version when you're actually using laser rotation, which we'll talk about again in an advanced video. And other than that, you can pretty much have everything just as I have it here. Most of it's pretty much the default because you don't have to change much. That's it for the controls. I'm going to jump now into the arena map, which is the main default map of the game. When the full game gets uploaded, all this interface, all the maps, even the control scheme and the main controls of the game are most likely all going to be changed. Within a few months, I'll do another tutorial going over a whole bunch of the new features, but until that time, all of this will still be the same. When you'd normally go into a match, you would click on online and play now. And this is the default screen that you'll see, and whenever someone else is online also looking for a game, you'll get matched up with them here. I'm going to go into now a local map. When you go to play arena, this whole map will be the same as you see here, except this block that's in front of the other second player won't be there. I just have that here so you can see it in the tutorial. So we're going to jump into this match. Now the objective of arena, same as the normal LazerGrrl game, is you want to get energy and build your base up. Use that energy to attack the other player and the other base. The first thing we want to do are these little shining green spots here that you can see. These are your energy spots. This is where you basically get income, and you use this income to buy blocks. Now you can see at the back of the base, those shining 15 spots that are at the back, they're your income. So that's basically how much money you have. Now each block in the game, we have 3 blocks, 3 main blocks. We have a wall. This costs 1 energy. As you can see, the cost is behind the wall. And as with all blocks, you can just pick it up and you buy it from the base. So you just stand in front of it, you can see your little cursor hover over it, and then you just have to press your left movement button and that picks it up. You then again use your movement buttons to place the blocks. And what the walls can do is they have lots of health. You can use them to project against lasers. You can also use them to transport energy. So what we'll see is when we start the match, we want to first connect these first 2 gen spots to our base so we can start getting energy. Now in terms of which one of these and how you should build them, is you want to put a wall first so we can start connecting these wall spots to your base, and then we want to put a gen block there. So as you can see, this gen block is now starting to get energy, and it'll go through these pipes and into your base, and as you can see, the energy is starting to build up. Now this won't work if there's no wall there. Obviously it's not connected, so you want to make sure that's there as well. Now in terms of specifically the steps you could take to set this up, you should go and buy a wall first, place it at the top, then buy a gen, and then place it at the top. Now this is the quickest way to connect them. That's the easiest for beginners. And the reason why you want to connect this top gen instead of this bottom one first is that, as you can see, the wall is in the middle of the whole map as the map's symmetrical, but the gen is actually closest to the top. So you want to pick that up and place it there first, because you'll start getting energy quicker than the bottom wall. And then again, after you've placed this here, you want to then come through, pick up another wall, place it at the bottom, pick up a gen, place it at the bottom. So again, first thing you want to do in an arena match is you want to build these top and bottom gens. Now, while I'm going through this tutorial, you'll see I'm going to get lots of energy. But in a normal game, and later when I go through and show you how this would really look, you won't have as much energy to start with. Second thing about arena is once you've got your initial resources set up, you want to then look at either attacking the middle lane, the top lane, and the bottom lane. So they're basically these horizontal rows of gens that will be there and these energy spots. Now, on Arena, the mid lane, so these 3 gen spots, is the most powerful because they're the ones that can attack directly into your base. The other block we have in this game are lasers. What lasers can do is when you have a gen placed, it can power a laser. And as you can see, this laser will continue to fire and it will attack the enemy's base. And as you can see, it's taking damage with a little pink ring around the edge. So you can use these energy and these gens and these lasers basically to fire and attack your enemy and attack the base. Now I put a block here, which is why the enemy can't be attacked right now. After you've placed your gen spots, what you want to do is you want to place some blocks to try and secure mid. What I mean by that is these 2 spots that are here, so this spot here and this spot here, are your most important and you want to get them first. And reason being is that if your opponent is able to take some of your gen spots in mid and they're able to fully take mid, then it's really hard to come back from that. What you want to do in order to prevent your opponent from taking mid is you want to make sure you place a block here first, because that's closest to your enemy without being too far away from your base. So you want to place this block first and then place the second block. Now I'm using walls here because they're the cheapest and because they have the most basically damage that they can take. When you start a match, like I said before, you won't have this much energy, and because gens and lasers cost 5 energy each, they're very costly, so you might not be able to buy them straight away. So it's best just to start with walls. Once these 2 are placed, it's best to then do the exact same thing on either the top lane or the bottom lane. Basically what you're trying to do is you're trying to secure as many spots closest to your home base as you can, so that way you can connect them and use them to attack your opponent without them getting close enough to steal those spots. In the advanced tutorial, I will talk about lots of different strategies that you can use on this map, but what I'm talking about now is best to start for beginners. So, like I said, just like we did with mid, we want to place a wall in this spot here, and then one behind it, and then same on the bottom as well. And again, as you can see, when you get more used to this, it becomes a lot quicker, and with this 8-button control scheme, it's going to be a lot quicker than Pokemon as well. What to do after this? Now that we've secured our mid spots, our top lane and our bottom lane closest to our base, we need to actually start using them to get income and attack our opponent. Now, like I said before, because mid's so important, we want to start attacking that first. So we want to buy a gen, and there is a gen spot like we saw before under this block here. However, you can't just place blocks on top of each other, and you can't just swap them straight away. So this is why we're going to use 8-button too. We want to place our gen down, pick up our wall, move it out of the way, pick up our gen, and place it there. That's a quick way to swap out 2 blocks together, and now you can go and use this wall for something else. What I would suggest using this wall for is to help you start connecting your top and bottom lanes to your base, and you'll see why in a moment. So after we've replaced this gen, we're then going to want to replace the laser. So again, place, pick up, place, place, place. So slow it down if you want another look at that, but this is a basic principle of just swapping 2 blocks, and again, this is why you want to use 8-button. So again, this wall that I replaced here, I decided to put it up here instead, so that way you can see now this entire lane is connected. At this stage, you can kind of start to do things in whatever order you want, but the principle will still be the same. I want a laser and a gen in either the top or the bottom lane, so I'm going to go the bottom lane. So place, pick, place, down. Again, with a laser, down. So you can see now, both our top and bottom lanes are fully connected to our base. We have gens and lasers on our bottom and middle lane. So the last thing is I just want to replace the top gen. Now again, I kind of have a free block here. Now, if I had energy empty in the bank, you can sell blocks as well. And you can see I just gained energy from that. And obviously if your base is full, selling something won't actually gain any energy. And then again, the last thing, another laser at the top. Basic infrastructure is set. We can now have a look in a proper game sense what we would do after this. You can see now in a normal game, this is roughly how a beginning would begin. If both players kind of use the same or similar strategy, and both players are about equally as quick at doing this. And once you get more comfortable, you get quicker. So after this stage where everything's set up, you've got your infrastructure, what do you do next? Again, this is kind of where you can decide for yourself what you want to do. You might want to go on the offense and you might want to try and attack the opponent's base a little bit. But what I would suggest at this stage is we want to try and win some more energy off of these side lanes and destroy some of your opponent's blocks. Now, we can already see our lasers are firing, but they're not doing anything because they're basically the same strength. So what we have to do is we have to create a super laser. What this super laser does is it's more powerful than a normal laser. Because it's more powerful, it can actually destroy an opponent's laser even if it's firing. But instead of it only needing 1 gen to power, like you can see here, it actually requires 3 gens but 2 lasers. Now how we create this is we want to replace this wall block with our laser. So as you can see here, we have a super laser and it's now even stronger and it was able to destroy the opponent's other laser here. Now, we can keep this firing and it'll destroy more blocks, but what we want to do is when it starts to destroy some more blocks, we want to move forward and we want to take some of these squares. What we want to do is we want to replace this laser with a wall and then move the laser forward. So we now have our super again, but we've moved it forward by 1 block, so it's starting to gain ground. Now, how far should we keep supering? We could keep going all the way as far as we can, but the best way to do it is just enough so that we can get this mid-gen spot. And the reason being is that you can see now we have an extra income. So instead of only having 2 income, we now have 3. Now with that extra energy, we can either use that to push mid more, we can push top, or we can even push bottom. Or of course we can attack the base, or we can attack the player. So there's lots of different things we can do, and hence why it's a strategy game. Now I'm going to go through one more run through of the entire opening, just so that you guys have a bit better of an understanding about how it would actually be played. So again, wall, gen, build the top, wall, gen, build the bottom. We want to block our 2 spots in mid. We then want to go either top or bottom with a wall, and then again we'll go bottom with 2 more walls. After this, we want to replace mid with a gen, use that block to connect, replace it, connect. I'm going to go bottom, replace this. Again, we're going to go for the top, and then I might even push my laser forward 1. So as you can see, we're already now with everything set up. We've got mid, we've got top, we've got bottom. They're connected to the base, and now we can go through and super. Now the reason why we want to also have these connected is because if we try and super, it requires 3 energy. As you can see, there's 3 dots on top of the super. Now at this stage, we've only got 1 gen powering it, but nothing else. So it's not going to power at all. So that's why we need to make sure it's connected to base, so that it's taking some storage and taking some energy out of the actual base and it can power. That's going to be it for a beginner's guide. Like I said previously, in an advanced guide, I'm going to be going over some more different features. So we're going to be looking at laser rotation, we're going to be looking at juggling, blocking, and snaking. So a couple of different techs for more advanced users. Thanks guys, I hope you enjoyed. If you want to find out more about LazerGrrl or come and chat to us so we can help you out, help all new players, even get some games, come and join our Discord. There's a link here in the game itself. Otherwise, have a look down in the description. Thanks guys, have a good day.